Frank Ocean allegedly lives in this building right here. Is it true? I'd like to think so, but who knows? Good morning from New York City. I am back again at the Citizen M on Bowery, best hotel in New York. Not an ad, but Citizen M. If you want to sponsor me, I'm here. But today's video, I wanted to do something really quickly and just share an updated 5 tips for beginner videographers. I've been getting a lot of messages on Instagram just asking me sort of the technical side, like what camera should I use? Like what editing software should I be using? And that's not what this video is gonna be about. This video is gonna be more about just the general life advice when it comes to being a beginner videographer, what you should expect. If you really wanna know technical answers, there's a bunch of tutorials on YouTube that will help you out. If you wanna know what I shoot on the Sony a7S III for video. I shoot on the Sony a7R III for photos. I have 3 lenses, all Sony G Masters, the 16-35 f2.8, the 24-70 f2.8, and the 70-200 f2.8. Depending on the project, I will rent other cameras. Boom, there you go. Those are all the technical answers you're gonna get in this video, but let's roll the intro and I'll see you on the other side. Moving right along to the first thing I knew when I was starting out as a videographer, there is very little money. It'll be more like 2 years before you start making actual like livable good money. But if you make it that far, it's gonna be really worth it. At the very beginning, you will not be making good money and it's gonna be very discouraging, especially if you went to college or you have friends going to college. Some of those people are gonna be getting full-time jobs, 6-figure salaries, they'll be getting promotions before you actually even start making livable money. So I've said this before, and I'm sure if you've been on my channel and seen past videos, like I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but saving your money is so important. Keeping your expenses as low as you can, whether that's living at home, having 5 roommates, 6 roommates, whatever. But this is your time. If you are in your early 20s, even if you're in your mid to late 20s, like it's fine. Like it's okay to take risks and you shouldn't be afraid of what might be on the other side. But don't expect to be making a ton of money at the beginning. That's just the way it goes. Second thing I wish I knew when I was starting out is that relationships are everything. In this career path, if you want to be a freelance videographer, freelance photographer, you can't go on a website and just like apply. Like if you want to be LeBron James's personal videographer, you can't just go on LinkedIn or Indeed and look up a job posting and apply and send your resume. That's not how this career path works. This career path is completely relationship based. You need to be meeting people with it, whether it's other videographers, other photographers, other creative stylists, makeup artists. That's how you get referrals and other jobs in this industry. Getting as many people to see you and your work and keeping you in mind to hire you. I am very introverted, but it is very important to put yourself out there, go to events, hang out with new people. It can be a very scary thing, but if you don't put yourself out there, no one is going to know about you, no one is going to hear about you, and it's very important to develop and maintain these relationships in order to get more work. Moving on to number 3, and this is a little bit tied to interpersonal relationships, but people may not be supportive of you following a creative career path from the beginning, whether that's your family members, your parents, your brothers, your sisters, your close friends, people that you kind of know but maybe don't know. There will be people who are asking you questions like, why are you doing this? You should be going to college. You should be getting a real job. And don't get me wrong, I did go to college. I graduated with a degree in economics that I do not use. You know, when I was starting out, like my mom was supportive, but she was a little hesitant. I'm sure some of my friends like were a little skeptical as well. I'm sure people who kind of knew me but didn't know me like were laughing at me and like was like, what is this guy doing? But you really just have to block that out and you really just need to keep going. And it's also important to just post everything, whether it's on Instagram, if you want to make TikToks. I primarily use Instagram. That's how I get the majority of my work, but don't be afraid to post your work. You are not going to be the greatest from the beginning. You have to show your journey. You have to show the struggles. You have to show behind the scenes. That's how people will really connect with you and your work and will see your progression and your growth and will keep you in mind. That's really important. There's tons of great creatives out there, but a lot of people just don't know about them because they don't have visibility or they haven't built these relationships. So for me, I use Instagram as my main platform to, post my work, whether it's not the best, I may not think it's the best. I might hate it. Like I have a lot of friends who are creative who don't post anything because they're like, this work isn't good enough. And you may think that, but someone who is just scrolling on Instagram searching for hashtags might come across your page and love everything that you do. So I know this answer was a little bit all over the place, but don't let people discourage you, whether that's your family or your friends. Keep working, keep getting better at your craft, and post everything. People want to see what you're doing, and the people who care about what you're doing will find you, will support you, and that's why it's important to just not care sometimes. Don't care about what people think about you. Live your life the way you want to. Moving on to number 4, and this one kind of comes with time. I have been a freelance videographer for 5 years now, going on to 6. And the more I have developed in this career path, the older I get, you realize it can be a very lonely job. I am alone 80% of the time, 80 to 90% of the time, whether it's if I'm traveling for work, if I am in a hotel, if I'm in the Uber. The only time I'm around people is like if I'm on set, but a lot of the times it's people I don't know, people I'm meeting for the first time, and it's just kind of like a work thing. I have a lot of close friends. I have really supportive family. I talk to my mom like twice a day, but regardless, you are alone a lot of the time, and you have to get comfortable with being alone and being with yourself and like loving yourself and taking care of yourself, because otherwise it's going to be very detrimental to your mental health, and it can be scary for some people. But it's kind of just part of the job. You are alone unless you work with like a studio, a creative agency. If you're going into an office every day, you will have coworkers, obviously. But for me, I'm full-time freelance, and it's a very lonely job. You are kind of just alone, like I mentioned, all the time. So just prepare for that. That was just something I wanted to throw in there, but it can be a very lonely experience. Number 5, last one, super quick video. Don't come into this job expecting to be friends with celebrities. If you're on Instagram, and I'm sure you're following a ton of videographers, a ton of photographers, and they're working with like all these rappers or athletes, celebrities, you might think like, oh, I want to do that because I'm trying to be friends with those people. Don't get me wrong. Like if you are a personal videographer and photographer, you will be around those people 24/7. You might even be their closest like acquaintance or person that they have to work with, just because you are documenting their life, and you will develop a relationship, an organic relationship. But for me, I don't like to overstep my boundaries. I never like to think that I am friends or like besties with like any of these people. Like I very much approach it as a professional relationship, because I know some people who like overstep their boundaries, and it can create awkward situations, and I like to just think of it as a job. And that's kind of how I approach all those situations. Don't get me wrong, like if someone wants to talk to me and like they're asking me questions about my life, like I'll engage in that and things of that nature, but I'm not out here just pretending like, oh, I work with so-and-so, I'm their best friend. Like that's not how it works, and you shouldn't think that's how it works. But don't get me wrong, like it is really an awesome and privileged experience to be able to work with high profile athletes, celebrities, musicians. That's something that I really enjoy about this job. But don't ever think that you're coming into this and you're going to be best friends with any of these people, because that's not really how it works. Bonus tip, and this is just something to think about, and this is not something you're going to experience from the get-go, but something to remember. Please don't have an ego. Like if you are creative with an ego, that's the worst. Luckily, I haven't come across too many people who have like a massive creative ego, but there are a few. Not super pleasant to work with, and this may not be something that you experience right off the bat. Like when you're starting out, you're kind of just figuring everything out, but like the more you meet people, the more seasoned you get, the more seasoned people around you get, like you start noticing people developing an ego because they're working with so-and-so, they're like directing this project, and it can become very difficult to work with people like that, and people may not want to work with you if you develop this sort of ego. And that's just something to remember. Keep in the back of your head, just stay humble, be kind always, just in general, because working with people with huge egos is the absolute worst. The absolute worst. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you learned something. Again, if there are other questions that you have that I didn't answer in this video, DM me on Instagram. I reply to everyone. Like any question, any time of day, I will get back to you. My Instagram is @Saul Lopez, linked in the description below. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, comment, subscribe, do all those things. I need to get to the airport because my flight takes off in 2 hours. But yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Thanks so much.
I might just hit it through. That's on my element. I like dark skins, love a melanin. Talk, push, talk when I'm stepping in.